Yo, this is Set with Set Media, man. I'm here to talk to you about our partner, Kalshi. Kalshi is the largest legal prediction market in the United States with over 1 million users. It's available in all 50 states. They are a real money market, people trading on what they think will happen. You can build a position and trade in and out of almost any prediction you think. Kalshi facilitates trade between people kind of like the stock market. There's no limiting your trades just because you're winning. Kalshi will pay you interest on your position. So if you make a long-term trade, you can earn a return even before the market is resolved. If you want to try out Kalshi, go ahead and give them a try, guys, at my link, kalshi.com/setmedia. Get $20 when you trade 20, so it's 20 for 20, guys. Once again, that's kalshi.com/setmedia. Go ahead and use my code setmedia to get $20 when you trade 20. Let's go ahead and take a look here at Kalshi, because like I said, it is a trading market where you can put in your prediction and you can go ahead and earn interest on that. You can make money off the knowledge that you know, and if you put $20 in, you get $20 back. So all right, guys, make sure to go check out my guy Kalshi, because you can get in on good trades like who will Trump nominate as Fed chair, will Ali Khamenei be outed as the supreme leader, and will the US confirm that aliens exist before 2027. So if you want to get in on this action, once again, go ahead and go to my partners at Kalshi. Go ahead and use the link, or you can hit the QR code above and use Set Media to go ahead and get $20 when you trade 20. This is Set from Set Media, and shout out to Kalshi.
Please stand. Thank you, Erica. In Charlie's memory, we must all come together.
Yeah, we're going to get into Erica later on, because Candace released that video pretty much saying that she's going to do an expose on Erica Kirk, going to run down her entire history, expose every lie she told, and pretty much hold her accountable for, well, the lies she told about her past and the very shady history that she has. So that's going to be a fun one.
To reaffirm that America is one nation under God, and we must totally reject political violence of any kind.
It was one of the many emotional moments from last night's State of the Union address when Turning Point CEO Erica Kirk stood up as President Trump paid tribute to the late organization's late founder and her husband, Charlie Kirk. Trump credited Charlie with the religious revival movement sweeping across the country. He also described Kirk as a martyr for his faith, taking the moment to denounce political violence of any kind.
Another big moment from last evening, President Trump hammering home his crackdown on illegal immigration and putting Democrats on the spot when this happened.
I'm inviting every legislature to join with my administration in reaffirming a fundamental principle. If you agree with this statement, then stand up and show your support. The first duty of the American government is to protect American citizens, not illegal aliens.
Dem, stand up. What are you doing? Like, Dem, stand up. What are you trying to say? That your first duty is not to protect American citizens? Now, I know, guys. I know what the libs are going to say. That's not what they're saying. They just don't want to stand up because Trump told them not to. Yeah, but let's be real, that's kind of petty, and they should just stand up symbolically to come on now, just to show that there's some type of unity, that we should be trying to protect all American citizens, and they should have just stood for that, and then they could have just said F you Trump on the way down, and I'd have respected that. Shoot, they could have stood up and said, yeah, okay, but F you Trump, and I'd have respected it, but just not standing up at all, that's sad.
You should be ashamed of yourself not standing up.
Yep, shame.
Well, some already suggesting that that moment you just watched could come back to haunt them come November. What about all that with the Vice President, J.D. Vance, who now joins me live. And, sir, thank you for your time. After a late night last night, you're back at it today, and appreciate you coming on. Good morning to you.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me.
So the New York Times, about that moment, says, stand up. With one maneuver, Trump tries to box in Democrats. The president's ploy changed the energy inside the House chamber. At that point, would have been a mostly dutiful State of the Union address morphed into full-blown political theater. You and Speaker Johnson are only one of two people, in addition to the president, who have the same line of sight with his view. And when that happened, what did you see on the right side of the room?
Well, I saw a couple of things, Bill. First of all, obviously, most Democrats didn't stand up or clap. And what a shame that is. What a sad commentary that is on the Democratic Party, that the idea that the American government should stand.
Oh, guys, let's not forget to double tap that screen like the video, guys. Let's get more people on the conversation by double tapping that screen. Appreciate the support. You've got any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements? I'll be happy to read it out loud. Just $2 and up. Help us reach our goal. Open up the call-in line and run Conspiracy Hour. All right, let's go.
For American citizens, not illegal aliens. That shouldn't be controversial, but apparently it was to the Democrats. But I will say, Bill, something that I saw that probably most TV viewers didn't see was really the cowardice, because there were a few Democrats who sort of politely clapped. They didn't want to stand up. I guess maybe they were worried about being primaried by the far left fringe of their party, but they were all looking around. They weren't actually saying, you know what? I'm going to stand and support this because this is a common sense, obvious statement. They were all looking around for cues from their colleagues because they didn't have the courage to stand on their own. And that, more than anything, Bill, is the saddest commentary on the Democratic Party, that not only will they not stand for the idea that Americans should come first, they won't even have the courage of their convictions. They lean on the person to their left and their right rather than actually have some conviction. That is unfortunately what's true about Democrats in Washington today.
Well, it is being talked about a lot.
They showed no cojones, no testicle fortitude. Apparently, they're all hive-minded, and they had to look around and be like, wait, is it safe for me to stand up? Because I know I support what Trump is saying, but is it safe? And yeah, that's not showing real leadership, guys.
How many Democrats chose not to go last night? Senator Fetterman, a Democrat from Pennsylvania, last hour said on our program that the State of the Union address has changed forever. Have you given that much thought?
I really have. I mean, a couple of things, Bill. First of all, it was a celebration of America in a very unique way. I'd never seen in a State of the Union address where you have all of these great people coming in. You know, the guy who flew the Chinook helicopter in the Venezuela mission coming in, being awarded the Medal of Honor, and then a 100-year-old Korean War veteran being awarded the Medal of Honor at the same time. You had this poor girl who was assaulted by illegal aliens who managed to survive miraculously. All of these stories, normally you hear one or two stories. It was a constant, invigorating reminder of how great our country is through the stories of these great Americans. I think that is fundamentally a difference, and I don't think that we'll ever go back. And
I mean, let's be real, and it was sick. It's like, all right, well, y'all should be able to celebrate while we're celebrating pretty much a war hero or a combat hero. Like, y'all should be able to, stand up and celebrate for that. You should be able to stand up for that little girl who actually happened to beat the odds and is now able to walk. It's like, y'all should be able to stand for that. And if you don't, then I'm be real with you. You guys have a problem. It's like you hate Donald Trump that much where you're not willing to celebrate your own fellow Americans. They were even bitter at the men's American hockey team for showing up. Like, the TDS is too strong to where you cannot celebrate your fellow Americans. Like, really? We can't celebrate a war hero? We can't celebrate a little girl beating the odds? Are you serious? Y'all cannot do that. It has to be about Trump. Like, bro, you guys are the ones with Trump. Bro, you guys are obsessed with Trump at a certain point. If it's that serious.
I think the second thing, Bill, is the president used it as an opportunity to highlight the difference between congressional Republicans and congressional Democrats. You had congressional Democrats. They wouldn't stand for the idea that children shouldn't be socially transitioned without their parents' wishes. They wouldn't stand for the idea that American citizens should come first. They wouldn't stand for that innocent little girl who was assaulted by an illegal alien but managed to survive. Whatever your politics, whatever your views on immigration policy, can't we all stand and clap for an innocent young girl who shouldn't have been assaulted and was, being held by her dad? It was such a heartwarming moment. I think every American, Democrat or Republican, thought that was a great moment for our country. The only people who didn't believe that, apparently, were the congressional Democrats in that chamber. I think it shows again how broken their party is. But that revelation, I think, using the State of the Union to drive home that we really do have a radical fringe in our country that's not representative of the whole. I don't think that we'll ever see a State of the Union that doesn't drive home that point.
Okay, let's get to the issue that might clip this administration, and that's the economy. On screen now, we can show you 3 of the most recent polls about the economy, how about Americans are feeling about it. Everything in red. Our Fox polling disapproves at 59%, Washington Post, ABC News 57%, Wall Street Journal at 54%. It seems like you're pushing a car uphill, and you've got 9 months to turn it around. You know Democrats are juiced. They are ready to vote tomorrow. Do you have enough runway to get this economy where it needs to be before November?
Yeah, that's 3 financial quarters to pretty much prove that Trump's economic plan is a success. So, and let's be real, the Dems could have all the rhetoric in the world. They can cry about affordability all they want, but if the numbers are on Donald Trump's side in the next 9 months, come November, then I mean, they better pick a different argument for midterms because they're going to lose that one. And then if all they want to do is complain about Donald Trump while not having any plan of their own, that can sink them as well, because that's kind of what lost it with Kamala. We wanted, I mean, even the Dems wanted something different than Biden's leadership, and Kamala said they was going to give y'all more. Well, she was going to give y'all more of the same. That's what lost it. Well, I'm pretty sure the Democratic base wants something else, some actual real affordability problems than just F Trump. And I'm going to cry about the economy because Trump's in charge, even though, well, all the markers are good so far.
Well, Bill, in some ways, we are pushing a car uphill because the Biden administration left us such a
that's, of course, all 3 major indexes seeing record highs, Dow, NASDAQ, S&P 500, GDP went up, wages went up. So if we keep at that pattern all the way out for these next 9 months, we're going to be in a good position come midterms, and the Dems are going to have to shift focus on something else.
Disaster of an economy, the highest peacetime debt in American history, skyrocketing inflation. A lot of Americans who had lost $3,000 was how much the average American had lost in take-home pay. Now, in a year, we've actually seen the average American gain about $1,200 in take-home pay. But if you're sitting at home from the perspective of the Biden administration, you are still worse off than you were when Joe Biden took over. So we are absolutely pushing that car uphill. But here's the good news, Bill. I think we're about to get over the hump. I think that tax season is around the corner. A lot of Americans, because of no tax on tips, no tax on overtime, no tax on Social Security, they're about to get a massive tax income refund. We've seen this massive trillions and trillions of dollars coming into our country to build new factories. Those construction jobs are starting to hit the economy. Then the manufacturing jobs, once those factories are built, will hit the economy too. So I think that we've got a lot of momentum here. But the president said this last night. We inherited a mess. Our ask to the American people is let us continue to fix this mess, make your life better. That's what the president is prioritizing, and that's what we're going to keep doing.
Seems like it is the question on behalf of many, many Americans over the next 9 months, and we'll follow that very carefully.
No, that is true. There's multiple manufacturing projects that's happening across the United States, from car manufacturing, aerospace, planes and all that good stuff, and of course cars and all that. Oh, and pharmaceuticals that's being built in Maryland. So yeah, these jobs are going to be hitting the market sometime this year, and that's going to add on to Trump's good numbers when it comes to manufacturing and bringing jobs back to America. So like I said, we'll see during the next 9 months how the economy performs, how the job market performs, and that's going to determine how people feel about Donald Trump during the midterms when it comes to affordability and the economy. Because right now, when it comes to the economy, I mean, it's all green markers. But when it comes to affordability, that's the real problem, because the economy doing good, all that means is that businesses are continuously running a profit. That's all that means.
In the meantime, you've got a new job.
And it means your 401k is not tanking. So that's a good thing as well.
Here it is, the announcement last night from the president.
I'm officially announcing the war on fraud to be led by our great Vice President J.D. Vance. He'll get it done. And we're able to find enough of that fraud we will actually have a balanced budget overnight.
So here are some of the allegations. California, $8 billion in suspected COVID fraud. Minnesota, 19. Massachusetts, almost 15. And Maine, 45 million in improper Medicaid
Oh, guys, let's remember to double tap that screen, like the video, guys. And if you have any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements, I'll be happy to read it out loud and engage with it. Just $2 and up helps towards the call-in and conspiracy hour. Appreciate the support, guys. Let's keep it going.
payments. As you look at this, go ahead and explain it to us because we want to understand what the job is. And what do you think the number is?
Well, I don't know what the top line number, Bill, is, and I think that's unfortunate that nobody has ever tried to take a systematic look at how much fraud there is in the federal government. How many illegal aliens are on Medicaid? We know that it's billions and billions of dollars that should go to American citizens. It's going to illegal aliens. How many fraudulent daycare centers have been set up where that money should go to American citizens to help their kids get into childcare? Instead, it's being stolen from them by illegal aliens in our country. How much have government officials actually been complicit in this fraud because some of them have gotten wealthy, or at the least, they've gotten campaign donations from the people who have gotten rich from that fraud? The story of the American economy in so many ways during the Biden administration, Bill, is that the American citizen was ripped off for people who shouldn't be here and by politicians who should have known better. And the Trump administration, the president has asked me to take a full whole government approach to trying to understand that. And what does that mean, Bill? That means, first of all, the Department of Justice is going to be investigating and, where possible, throwing fraudsters in prison. But it's also going to mean that Scott Bessent and some of our friends at the Treasury Department, we're going to be looking at income tax records. We're going to be trying to understand how it is that the American people have been defrauded, how it is that people have used resources and programs that should go to American citizens instead have been going to fraudulent uses. There's a whole host of tools that we have that have never been used. And the president, I talked about this a couple of months ago and said, what if we just did everything that we could to stop the fraud that's being committed against the American taxpayer? The president said, great idea, let's do it. And we're going to work on that very aggressively over the next year.
Need a quick answer. Over the next year, is that the time frame? Is that 12 months?
Well, it's going to continue beyond that, but I think that we've already discovered a lot, Bill, and really I think the next year is where we're going to try to uncover as much as possible and run at this as much as we can, but it's not going to stop after a year.
All right, we have big topics too on the line. You got 5 years of war in Ukraine, you've got Iran on the precipice of something. Stay tuned and stand by, Mr. Vice President. More on that when we come back.
After midnight hammer, they were warned to make no future attempts to rebuild their weapons program, and in particular, nuclear weapons. Yet they continue, starting it all over. My preference is to solve this problem through diplomacy. But one thing is certain, I will never allow the world's #1 sponsor of terror, which they are by far, to have a nuclear weapon.
So there's the president touting his push to try and end the Iranian nuclear threat. Not easy. There's a new round of talks scheduled for tomorrow in Geneva. I want to bring back the Vice President, J.D. Vance. And, sir, thank you again for your time. Democrats have significant concerns, especially those who were briefed yesterday behind closed doors by the Secretary.
Man, and one of Iran's points is that they're not going to stop supporting their proxies like Hezbollah, Hamas, and the Houthis. They're not giving up their ballistic missiles program. They're only willing to talk about their nuclear capabilities, or their nuclear energy, or people say their nuclear weapons program, which they honestly, we don't have proof that they have it. We don't even have proof that they're even going towards a bomb. So you can take what you want with that one.
Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Here is Chuck Schumer. Had some comments yesterday and talked this way this morning.
The bottom line is he has an obligation to lay out to the Congress and to the American people his goals. That is how foreign policy should work. When you're forced to lay out your goals, you have to meet potential criticism. I am very worried about how Donald Trump conducts foreign policy, and particularly in this area of the world.
Sir, you can address that. Iran is not easy, as you well know. What does military success look like?
Well, I have to say, I try to understand where other people are coming from, Bill, but I don't know what Chuck Schumer is even talking about. The president has been as crystal clear as he could be. Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. That would be the ultimate military objective if that's the route that he chose. That is, of course, what we're trying to accomplish, as the president said, through the preferred route of diplomacy. But it's very simple. We have to get to a position where Iran, the largest state sponsor of terrorism in the world, cannot threaten the world with nuclear terrorism. And it's very simple. I think most Americans understand that you can't let the craziest and worst regime in the world have nuclear weapons. That's what the president is accomplishing. That's what the president has set as our goal. He's going to try to accomplish it diplomatically. But as we all know, Bill, the president has a number of other tools at his disposal to ensure this doesn't happen. He's shown a willingness to use them. And I hope the Iranians take it seriously in their negotiations tomorrow, because that's certainly what the president prefers.
Does that mean the supreme leader has to go?
Good point.
Well, again, I think the president ultimately will make the decision about how to.
Yeah, that's why it's really confusing, because like now, first we said it was about regime change when the so-called revolution popped off that didn't really amount to anything, but Iranians losing their lives. Now, yeah, here's a problem though. Now it's no longer about regime change. Now it's about them having nuclear weapons. Then once they talk about, okay, well, we're going to talk to them about our nuclear weapons, now we kind of switch the goalposts on Iran to, well, oh, now you got to dismantle your ballistic weapons and your missile defense system. And well, that's where they're drawing the line with us. So are we going to concede and just talk about, you know, their nuclear program, or are we going to stand 10 toes and say, no, we want you to stop with the nuclear program, the ballistic missiles, and enriching those proxies?
To ensure Iran does not have a nuclear weapon. But we're sitting down having another round of diplomatic talks to the Iranians, trying to reach a reasonable settlement. But a reasonable settlement towards what end? Iran can't have a nuclear weapon. It's very simple, Bill. I think the supreme leader and everybody in their system should understand it. We've been crystal clear, and we're hopeful that we're able to come to a good resolution without the military. But if we have to use the military, the president, of course.
And here's the wildest part about it. Now, if you don't know, Iran and Israel are pretty much sworn enemies. And we're pretty much telling Iran that, you know what? You can't have a nuclear program, but Israel can have a nuclear program and have nukes, and they're not a part of a proliferation treaty. And then we're also telling them, oh, yeah, you got to dismantle your ballistics, but Israel can have all the missiles they want. And we know they're your sworn enemy, and most likely they're going to attack you when you give it up. But hey, man, trust me, bro, just go ahead and give up all your capabilities to defend yourselves. And if you're looking at it at the perspective of the Iranians, it's like, come on now. Nobody's taking that.
Has that right as well.
Two more topics on Ukraine and Russia. 5 years now. Eastern Europe has been exploding. Is Vladimir Putin simply putting you off in these on again, off again talks as they go?
Bill, I think we've been engaged in very, very deliberate negotiations with both the Russians and the Ukrainians. Obviously, the Russians have some red lines, the Ukrainians have some red lines, and the president has just set the entire team from Marco Rubio on down to try to bring the killing to a close. You know, it's hard. As the president has said multiple times, he thought this was going to be the easiest war to solve. I agreed with him. It has turned out to be much more difficult. But I think that we're making progress, Bill. I think we're making progress with both the Russians and the Ukrainians, and we're just going to keep working at it. You know, eventually we're either going to be successful or we're not going to be. Right now, I think the president has some good optimism that we can bring this thing to a successful close. It's bad for the world. It's bad for America.
Yeah, as long as Zelensky's willing to concede land, yeah, it's going to come to an end. If not, then Russia will continue pulverizing these guys with missiles and drones. And that's just the sad reality of the war as of now. Oh, guys, let's not forget to double tap that screen and like the video, guys. Let's get to 100 likes. Appreciate the support. You can do that by double tapping the screen. Appreciate the support, guys.
So we're going to keep working at it.
You can certainly understand how people look at this from the outside and think that Putin is just buying time. Right?
I mean, bro, he don't need
Bill,
time.
You know, this point, I understand this point, and sure, I'm sure that Vladimir Putin has his military objectives, and obviously he hasn't stopped the killing, even though the president wants that very much to happen. But the way to solve this is to continue to engage.
That's the problem, though. As this war goes on, Putin gains more and more leverage. That's the problem. And Putin's starting to realize that, like, all right, well, the longer I keep this going, the more leverage I have. So why stop? There's no punishment for him in keeping on going. And I mean, he obviously don't care about the loss in life because he's gaining land. So let's just be honest. Putin, as days go by, is getting better and better for him. He has more and more leverage, which means that, well, Ukrainians' leverage is getting weaker and weaker. Their positioning in getting a good deal for themselves is, well, slim at this point.
In diplomacy. And so that's what the president has asked us to do. We're under no illusions that these guys are going to, meet in the middle of a field, give each other a hug and sing Kumbaya. That's why we're engaged in the diplomacy that we are engaged in. We are optimistic.
Oh, God, if you've got any questions, comments, jokes, or disagreements, you can send in a super chat, just $2 and up. Help us get towards the call-in line. Will help us hit that goal. All right, guys, let's keep it going. Let's not forget to double tap that screen.
That we can get to a point where both the Russians and the Ukrainians feel they've accomplished enough of what they need to bring the killing to a stop. That's what the president has set us out to do.
All right, big stakes on both those topics now. Let's end on a patriotic note. Last night, the red, white, and blue and gold. Watch.
Now we're winning too much. And I say, no, no, no. You're going to win again. You're going to win big. You're going to win bigger than ever. And to prove that point, here with us tonight is a group of winners who just made the entire nation proud. The men's gold medal Olympic hockey team. Come on in.
So you're not even going to congratulate them? That's crazy.
So for those of us who weren't there, how much fun was it to have those guys around for a day?
Bill, it was so electric, so fun to have him in the White House, obviously at the State of the Union. You may not have been able to see on TV, but Mike Johnson and I were probably the only two people in the House who couldn't see the team when they walked out because they were sort of directly above us in the chamber. But we're so proud of those guys, and it was just a great moment for the country. Again, Bill, the State of the Union was really just a celebration of our country, of our war heroes, past and present, of all the great things that we've been able to accomplish over the last year, of the incredible Olympic hockey team that won gold medal, both the men and the women's team, of course. It was just a very, very cool moment, a very patriotic moment. But I really think it set the tone for the whole speech. A celebration of our country. We ought to be proud of our country. We've had a great and proud history. But under this leadership, under the president's leadership, I really do believe, Bill, the best is yet to come. We just got to keep working at it.
All right, we'll watch.
All right, now let's go ahead and get over to the left side of media. Well, I see people crying in the chat. You don't know what you're talking about when it comes to Ukraine. Bro, Ukraine is losing, okay? That's why they're the ones being forced to, well, think about land concessions. Like, does that sound like they're winning to you? Does that sound like they honestly have a chance? I'm sorry, but yes, they are losing this war. I'm sorry that the propaganda you've been fed is not true, but that's just the reality, guys. And I don't even know why you thought that Ukraine could beat Russia. I mean, it'd have been nice, but that's not what's happening. And that's why Ukraine is talking about land concessions.